So there are three key headline messages from this report. Firstly, we need to look at the energy efficiency of our buildings and specifically housing. The second is that we need to take account of new technology and how that can influence the way in which we live and therefore the amount of energy we demand and the amount of energy we use. And the third and critical thing is how we approach decarbonising the heating of our homes. If we are to hit net zero by 2050 or earlier, and our really urgent climate change challenges, that has to change and that has to change quickly.
BRE isn't recommending a single heating technology for use across our housing stock or our business buildings. What we're saying in this report is that we're coming from a position where one technology has been dominant in terms of providing heating in our homes and buildings. That's gas boilers, currently used in 86% of homes. Certainly where we're going is a situation where there will be a much wider range of heating technology used. I think we can probably confidently say that heat pumps will be dominant, but there will also be a whole set of other technologies used in providing heating. And what we're really trying to do with this report is to look across different technology options, discuss some of the issues around them, some of the opportunities, and also make that point that whatever else we do in terms of different heating technologies, they need to be smart, they need to be accompanied by energy efficiency, and we will need a concerted policy drive to get them into our properties. Heat pumps will be the dominant technology here, and we do need a really strong policy focus on this. The government has an ambition of seeing 600,000 heat pumps a year installed by 2028, which is the level of ambition we need to see if we're going to hit net zero. The challenge is that at the moment we're only installing around 60,000 heat pumps a year, so that's a big series of steps from where we are now in 2022 to 2028. And the challenge isn't just around making sure that homeowners, business building owners have the information and the money they need to be able to purchase and install this equipment. It's also about making sure, for example, that the supply chain is there. We need a lot more installers geared up and ready to fit these heat pumps. So 600,000 heat pumps a year by 2028 is a vital and necessary government target, and it needs to be a really strong focus for policymakers over the next few years. Smart flexible heating technologies are one of the most interesting elements of the shift to decarbonised heating. And some people are already beginning to take advantage of this. So for example, as we're recording this, National Grid are running trials to test the enthusiasm and willingness of householders to change the time at which they use energy in response to a price signal, a price incentive. They'll get paid for using energy at different times, or rather using less energy at certain times. I think as the technologies evolve in this area, so that's digital technologies that can respond to signals from the grid, or that might respond to signals inside your own home, for example, signals that say, okay, my solar panels are generating lots of energy now. And it's technology around storage, so the storage of heat and the storage of electricity in the home, we're talking about home batteries here, then it will become much more possible for many more householders to be able to shift the time at which they use energy while still getting all the heat they need at the time that they want it. And so that's obviously a really exciting and important opportunity, but also one where there's a lot of opportunity for innovation between now and 2050 as we move towards that zero carbon heating system. Well, I think local authorities have a vital role here, because really what we're seeing with the transition to decarbonised heating is a shift from a centralised energy system towards a much more decentralised system. So of course, councils, regional authorities have an important role in planning how that works in their area. Heat networks are going to be much more important in the decarbonised energy future in 2050 than they are now. The Committee on Climate Change estimates that 18% of homes will be heated by heat networks, whereas currently that's only about 2.5%. So a big change. But of course, establishing heat networks, connecting up lots of different buildings to a network of piping heat through a community, that needs complex planning and infrastructure development, and only local councils can do that. So really empowering councils and regional authorities is important. It's sometimes easy to lose sight of the importance of energy efficiency in the whole energy system. We all sort of accept that it's legitimate for governments to invest in large-scale energy infrastructure like power plants or transmission lines, but actually promoting energy efficiency, reducing demand, is just as important in making sure that we have an energy system that works well and that is affordable for everybody, and actually reducing costs for consumers and for the country as a whole.
We use many sources, ranging from the technical analysis through to much more policy-focused research. The social science literature is just as important as the scientific. We know that the technology that will allow us to achieve zero carbon heat. But what about the politicians, the public, the plumbers, the builders, and the system manufacturers? How can they make this a reality? There's a growing body of research looking at these questions and how to organize society and the economy to achieve this transition. For me, the most surprising findings is the importance of flexibility. We're used to talking about energy efficiency and heat pumps, but new storage and smart digital technologies will be key. The government estimates that by using these new technologies, we'll be able to save £10 billion on system cost per year by 2050.
We want this report to stimulate debate by policymakers and decision makers, but more than that, we want that debate to move to action. There's an urgent requirement now to decarbonise our homes, and we want this report to support that conversation, but also to support a roadmap to how we might achieve that. And that's for the benefit of homeowners, for us, for people, but also in terms of the way in which we mitigate climate change.